The men would stare and whisper, captivated by her beauty. Far from the village, Jabari lived a lonely and regretful life in exile. He had lost everything: his position of respect, his family, and his home. Zai, a 28-year-old woman, was known for her stunning beauty. She lived in a small African village and was raised by her uncle, Jabari, a respected elder in the community. However, behind closed doors, Jabari had treated her poorly for years, leaving Zai feeling broken and ashamed. To cope with her pain, Zai dressed in ways that attracted the attention of men, believing this was the only way to feel loved. Whenever Zai walked through the marketplace, people noticed her. The men would stare and whisper, captivated by her beauty. The village girls were jealous, as they believed Zai got all the attention from the men they admired. They gossiped about her, spreading rumors that Zai was secretly involved with many of the men in the village, but they didn't know the truth about her past. Zai felt lost and lonely despite all the attention she received from men. She believed that if she could make men desire her, she would feel better about herself. However, the more attention she received, the emptier she felt. Zai longed for love and respect, but her past had distorted her understanding of what love truly was. She wished she could be like the other girls in the village, but she felt trapped in her ways. Kato, a 29-year-old man, was different from the others in the village. He was kind, hardworking, and known for his strong character. When Zai first met Kato, she tried to charm him like she did with other men, but Kato did not react. He treated her with respect but showed no interest in her advances. This surprised Zai, as she was used to men being captivated by her beauty. Zai was confused by Kato's indifference. No man had ever resisted her before, and she didn't understand why Kato was different. She tried harder to catch his attention, but Kato remained respectful and kind without showing romantic interest. The village girls noticed this and began gossiping even more about Zai, laughing at her failed attempts to win Kato's affection. Behind her actions, Zai carried a heavy secret. Her uncle Jabari had mistreated her for years, and this experience had left her feeling worthless. She disliked what he had done to her, but she was too afraid to tell anyone. Jabari was respected by the elders, then Zai feared no one would believe her. Instead of speaking out, she continued to seek love and attention in unhealthy ways. Despite Zai's attempts to attract him, Kato sensed that there was something deeper behind her behavior. He saw her pain and wanted to understand her better. One day, by the river, Kato approached Zai and spoke to her gently. Instead of flirting, he asked her about her life and her struggles. Zai, taken aback by his kindness, felt her defenses begin to crumble. Zai had never met anyone like Kato before. He didn't judge her or treat her like an object of desire. For the first time in her life, someone seemed to care about her feelings. Slowly, she began to trust Kato and shared her story with him. She told him about the years of mistreatment by her uncle Jabari, and how it had twisted her understanding of love and self-worth. Kato was shocked by Zai's story, but he didn't react with anger or disgust. Instead, he listened and offered her comfort. He encouraged her to speak the truth to the village elders and assured her that he would stand by her no matter what. Kato's support gave Zai a sense of hope and strength she had never felt before. As they began to open up and change, the other village girls noticed. They saw that she was no longer seeking attention from men in the same way, and they began to realize that there was more to her story than they had originally thought. Slowly, the gossip started to fade. Some of the girls even began to admire Zai for her courage, and they started to see her in a new light. With Kato's encouragement, Zai decided it was time to tell the village elders the truth about her uncle Jabari. She knew it would be difficult, but she also knew that hiding her pain had only made things worse. Zai gathered her strength and went to the elders, explaining everything about the mistreatment she had suffered. The elders were shocked and horrified by what they heard. The village elders had always respected Jabari, but after hearing Zai's story, they realized they had been blind to his true nature. They felt guilty for not protecting Zai and knew they had to take action. After a long meeting, the elders decided that Jabari should be exiled from the village. His actions had broken the trust of the community, and he could no longer stay among them. The village gathered to witness Jabari's exile. The people were stunned to learn the truth about him. Many had looked up to him as a respected elder, but now they saw him as someone who had betrayed his own family. Zai watched as her uncle was led away, feeling a mix of relief and sadness. Though the pain he caused would always be with her, she knew that justice had been served. With Jabari gone, Zai felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She no longer dressed to attract attention from men and began focusing on her own healing. Kato continued to support her, and Zai found new strength in their friendship. She started to rebuild her confidence and self-worth, learning that love and respect came from within, not from the approval of others. As Zai changed, so did the attitude of the village. The people began to see her not as the woman who attracted men's attention, but as someone who had overcome great hardship. The village girls, once her biggest critics, started to support her on her journey of healing. Zai's transformation inspired others, and she became a symbol of strength and resilience in the community. Kato's actions did not go unnoticed. The men in the village began to admire him, not for his physical strength, but for his wisdom and kindness. Kato showed them that true courage came from standing up for what was right and treating others with respect. His influence began to spread, and the village elders noticed how he was changing the hearts and minds of the younger generation. As Zai grew stronger, she realized she wanted to help others who had suffered like she had. She began working with the village girls, teaching them to value themselves and to speak out against injustice. Zai's experience gave her a unique perspective, and the girls began to look up to her as a leader and mentor. The village elders recognized that they had failed to protect Zai and wanted to make sure it never happened again. They held a meeting to discuss how they could create a safer environment for the women in the village. They decided to establish a safe space where young women could speak openly about their experiences and seek help if they were mistreated. Despite all the pain Jabari had caused her, Zai knew that holding on to anger would only harm her father. With Kato's guidance, she learned to forgive, not for Jabari's sake, but for her own peace. Letting go of her anger allowed Zai to fully embrace her new life. Forgiveness became an important part of her healing journey. Zai's transformation had a ripple effect on the entire village. The people began to change the way they viewed women and relationships. Gossip and judgment slowly faded away, replaced by a culture of respect and understanding. The elders made it a priority to listen to the voices of all the village members, ensuring that everyone, regardless of gender, had a say in community matters. The village held a ceremony to honor Zai and Kato for their bravery and the positive changes they had brought to the community. Zai was praised for her courage in speaking out and helping others, while Kato was recognized for his wisdom and kindness. The ceremony marked a new beginning for the village, symbolizing unity and strength. Far from the village, Jabari lived a lonely and regretful life in exile. He had lost everything: his position of respect, his family, and his home. As time passed, he began to reflect on his actions and the harm he had caused Zai. In his isolation, he regretted his choices, but it was too late to undo the damage. His life in exile served as a reminder of the consequences of his actions. The younger people in the village grew up hearing the story of Zai and Kato. The elders used it as a lesson to teach them about respect, kindness, and the importance of standing up against wrongdoing. Zai's courage and Kato's integrity became guiding examples for the youth, who learned that true strength comes from doing what is right, even in difficult situations. If you enjoyed our African tales and want to join our journey, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. as your support helps us share these beautiful stories with even more people. As the years passed, Zai became a respected figure in the village. She continued to mentor young girls, teaching them to value themselves and not be afraid to speak up when faced with challenges. Her wisdom was sought by many, and she used her experiences to help others find their own strength. Zai had transformed her struggles into a source of power, becoming a beacon of hope for the entire village. Zai and Kato's story was passed down through generations, ensuring that the village would never forget the lessons they had taught. The village elders made it their mission to uphold justice and compassion, making sure that everyone's voice was heard. The village thrived in unity, with people learning that true strength comes not from power or control, but from kindness, love, and the ability to listen to others. Zai's journey from pain to healing became a symbol of hope and resilience for all.